A black man was shot dead in Georgia by two white men who thought he was a criminal. And by the shooter's own accounts, they screwed up big time. But of course, liberals have no interest in approaching this rationally. The mayor of Atlanta has already blamed Trump, saying that he's the one that gave racists permission to run around shooting black people. Because even now, when we might have an actual case of racism on our hands, this still isn't about justice. It's about the narrative. By now you've seen the story, but we'll recap real quick for the folks in the back. Last week, a video went viral online showing a black man being shot dead in the street by two white guys in a pickup truck. And that's about all you can tell from the video itself. According to the story, the two white men, identified as retired police officer Gregory McMichael and his son Travis, told police they'd picked up their guns and chased down 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery in their truck, thinking he matched the description of a suspect in a few local burglaries, even though police say there'd been no such burglary reports. When they confronted Arbery, a struggle ensued. The video does not make it clear who started it or why, but by the end of it, Arbery was lying dead in the street from a shotgun blast. According to local reports, the cops who responded to the scene wanted to cuff the shooters right then and there, but they were told to stand down by the DA's office. It took 2 months of viral video and an effort by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation for the McMichaels to finally be arrested. And that is a problem. So now we're all caught up. Now, of course, many people are pointing to this as a racist attack, which is a fair question. By the shooter's own admission, they chased Arbery down because they assumed he was a criminal, but they admitted they didn't know for sure. And it is a fair question to ask whether they would have made that same assumption if he'd been white. At the same time, many attempts have been made over the past week to dig into Arbery's criminal history and figure out whether he was the saint that his family is making him out to be. Surveillance video from just before the shooting shows Arbery walking around an open construction site. Doesn't show him taking anything or even doing anything wrong, but some are pointing to that video as proof that he wasn't out for a run and wasn't shot just for jogging while black. Others have dug into his criminal history, pointing to his prior run-ins with the law that have nothing to do with this shooting, as reasons to believe he may have been up to no good. And it is a fair question to ask whether Arbery would have been given a greater presumption of innocence if he'd been white. So here's the deal. It is wrong to just assume that Arbery had done something to deserve getting chased down and shot. Just like it's wrong to assume the two guys who shot him are automatically a couple of skin-headed racists. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. The question we really should be asking is whether it's okay in a lawful society for two men to take it upon themselves to chase down another man with their guns on the assumption that he'd done something wrong. But we can't seem to look at this rationally, because the narrative is what's important. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms waited about 2 seconds before jumping at the chance to blame Trump for Arbery's death, saying with the rhetoric we hear coming out of the White House, many who are prone to being racist are given permission to do it in an overt way we wouldn't see in 2020.
With the rhetoric that we hear coming out of the White House, in so many ways, I think that many who are prone to being racist are given permission to do it in an overt way that we otherwise would not see in 2020.
Do you want to know why some people are so skeptical of these stories even when they seem clear-cut? This right here. Because before the police have even had a chance to finish their investigation, the story is immediately weaponized by liberals to attack Trump, who had exactly nothing to do with any part of this tragedy. Because celebrities like LeBron James, a black man who gets paid millions of dollars a year to put a ball through a hoop, jump on these stories to claim that black people are hunted every day in this country, which is so ridiculous it does not even deserve a response. They're skeptical because the media has twisted these stories before. We were told Mike Brown was just walking down the street when he was shot dead in cold blood, when in fact, it turns out he just robbed a convenience store and then assaulted a cop. We were told Alton Sterling was just shot for selling CDs, when it turns out he was high as a kite, got into a fight with police, and had an illegal gun in his pocket. We were told Jussie Smollett was assaulted by two guys wearing MAGA hats, and that whole thing ended up being a giant load of bull crap, but he got off scot-free as though false claims of race-based assault are no big deal. This is why they are a big deal, and why truthful reporting is so crucial. They're skeptical because in the same week that Arbery's death made national headlines, activists in Indianapolis were clogging up the streets to protest the death of two black men who were shot dead by the police because they were shooting at the police. People are skeptical because it seems we cannot have an honest discussion about race in this country, even when one is warranted. We can't focus on the facts and merits of each particular case, even when there is a question of potential racism that deserves to be addressed, like with Ahmaud Arbery or Philando Castile or Tamir Rice. It is immediately seized upon as a way to smear Trump or white people or conservatives or all cops or America in general. That is exactly why so many people are skeptical. Because just like Ahmaud Arbery, they are so tired of being blamed for something they didn't do. And that's your Reality Check America. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page, that you like us on Facebook and Twitter, and stay sane out there.